Okay, starting this hour, President Donald Trump getting vocal about the infamous Jeffrey Epstein files. He's urging House Republicans to vote to just release to the public. The president on social media last night said House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax, close quote. He also went on to say the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. Sources tell CBS News House GOP leaders plan to hold a vote on that very matter that would force the Justice Department to release the Epstein documents in full. That apparently could happen as soon as tomorrow. All of this is playing out after the House Oversight Committee made headlines last week by releasing more than 20,000 pages of documents from Epstein's estate last week, some of them mentioning Donald Trump. Now, that prompted the president to call for prominent Democrats to be investigated. So there was a moment we want to show you. A reporter asked the president if that move to investigate Democrats was a smokescreen. Here's his response.
Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
So live outside the White House is CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand. So Natalie, the president has gone from fight there in that clip to what felt like a surrender statement on social media to just go ahead and release the files. So how is that being read in Washington?
Yeah, good afternoon, Reed. The president's new statement comes as, some lawmakers over on Capitol Hill are talking about a growing amount of GOP support for this measure in the House, expected to get a vote very soon to release all of the Epstein files. So it seems to acknowledge that this is moving forward. And as you saw in that post, the president is saying, OK, go ahead and release them. We have nothing to hide and we'd like to move on, making clear that he would like to talk about other topics, the economy, affordability issues that, voters have expressed are top of mind for them. And he also in this post notes the actions that he's taken, including calling for this new investigation for the DOJ to look into alleged ties between Epstein and prominent Democrats and also major financial institutions. The clip that you played was responding to Congressman Massey's statements that is this a smokescreen, questioning the intent of the strategy here, because Massey argues, well, the DOJ could use an active investigation or a new investigation to say we cannot release some of those files. You heard the president dismissing that concern by criticizing Massey, but also important to keep in mind, Reed, that there is that July memo from the Department of Justice, which really sparked a lot of this outrage over the Epstein case and where it stood, saying that their review found that really no further charges or no charges of third parties, were predicated based on what they had been investigating prior. So we're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Well, we're also seeing a push from some Epstein victims to release the files. Some of those victims want to meet with President Donald Trump himself. Will that happen?
Yeah, we know that survivors of Epstein are planning to be on Capitol Hill for a news conference tomorrow. And one of the Congress members who's led the push over on Capitol Hill to release the files, Ro Khanna, suggested that President Trump should meet with them. So CBS News asked the White House if there are any plans for that. And we did not get a direct statement, but a spokeswoman pointed to the actions taken by the administration, including the release, the White House says, of tens of thousands of documents complying with a House oversight subpoena. Also referenced this new investigation to say that this administration has done more for the victims than Democrats have. Important to also note, Reed, that this Epstein investigation now spans around 20 years. So that encompasses several administrations now, both Democrat and Republican.
All right, Natalie Brown there at the White House. Thank you so much for that. Let's turn now to CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion live on Capitol Hill. So, Nikole, we should see this vote tomorrow. What's the word up there on the Hill?
Well, many lawmakers on both sides of the aisle believe this could be a decisive vote. You have Congressman Tom Massey, who Natalie just referenced, the Kentucky Republican who co-sponsored this discharge petition, who says he wants to make this veto-proof and said that he believes there could be as many as 100 House Republicans who support this measure. So if you couple it with the Democrats who have already signed on to this discharge petition, it could be a pretty overwhelming vote. That being said, we obviously don't know until the vote actually happens, and as of now, it has not officially been scheduled.
Okay, so walk us through kind of a break that we're seeing in the Republican Party ahead of this vote. There was a back and forth between Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, and President Trump, somebody that she has been steel-footed for in the past. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, keep in mind that Marjorie Taylor Greene had signed on to this discharge petition months ago, really right when Congressman Massey and Democrat Ro Khanna filed it. And she has been a staunch supporter not only of the measure, but really defending these survivors and allowing them to have transparency around this issue, which is really what they have been pushing for. You know, her constant message has been we need to listen to the women. That being said, it has put her at odds with the president, and things really came to a head this weekend with the president going so far as to pull his endorsement of her, and now he's calling her Marjorie Trader Brown, saying that the brown is because green grass, when it turns brown, it turns into rot. I'm just paraphrasing there, but that's his rationale there. That being said, Marjorie Taylor Greene has made clear that she still supports the president. She doesn't believe that he's done anything wrong here, but you know, this is just something where she didn't necessarily see eye to eye with the president.
All right, Nikole Killion, thank you so much for breaking that down. We appreciate you helping us get our week started here on CBS News 24/7.